I don't know what I'm doing. So this is going to be interesting. So, get started streaming. All right. It shows that we're connected. New. Okay. So I think we're connected. I'm going to open up Benable for one. Hey, user 19. So, today's going to be a tutorial. I am currently, for the first time, running this on YouTube, I think. We'll see. It says that we're connected. Whether or not that's actually happening or not is going to be cool. I don't think that I can simultaneously run TikTok Studio and YouTube at the same time because it's OBS, and I just don't think that my computer can handle it. I'm not sure though. So, I'm gonna have you guys point towards my screen for this tutorial. And so I have TikTok over here for those of you that are watching on YouTube. And kind of this is where we started and this is where we're going. So we got 50 followers onto YouTube, or 50 subscribers, and we're moving slowly towards YouTube because it's something that I want to monetize, and we can't monetize on TikTok. So as much as, I'm growing on TikTok and things like that, I want to be able to teach Benable in as many places at once and be able to teach you what's going on. So I am going to turn the screen over to here. Hi, just a pop, and get the tutorial kind of so that TikTok can see what the heck I'm doing. Because usually I do this on TikTok Studio, right? So TikTok Studio allows me to screen share. OBS allows me to screen share. But I can't do that at once. So as you can see here, OBS is running what TikTok Studio would regularly run. We do have a chat rate, but not anybody viewing. So that doesn't make any sense, but we're going to roll with it. If we don't run, like if there's no stats on YouTube the very first day, oh well, right? But having this simultaneously is going to work out really well. And I just don't think that I know that I could run TikTok Studio on my computer. I just don't think I can run OBS and TikTok Studio. Anyways, getting into it, we're doing a Benable tutorial. So we do Benable tutorials on Monday at 11, and we also do a like Benable workshop on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. So I'm going to try and get you guys this close. Thank you, Just I Pop, for the likes. I might have to my power source is like on the wall. All right, so at the very least, I should be able to like pull this chat on screen. No, no, I can't pull the chat on screen. That is really weird. Okay, so we'll be checking throughout the live to kind of just check on that chat, and I can see you guys a little bit, so we're motivating. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today was going through and optimizing a list that just won't optimize. This is a brand new list that I did yesterday called the perfect ornament. So as you can see, I've already started doing some Christmas lists. Yesterday I did the Black Friday list. So one of the good things about having existing lists is that you can turn things off. So in this example, I can go over into my list settings on Benable, and I can make it a public list or a hidden list. So why that's important is that this, for instance, my URL, I don't want to change it. The URL for this list is pretty good. It is Black Friday hot deals. So I know that somebody picking that list up on like a social media platform is not going to have like Black Friday 2105, right? And that happens if your title is not unique enough. But because I started early with Benable, I was able to snag this title. And so one of the things that I recommend for people is to not put numbers in your lists, because when you put numbers in your titles, it limits how, and I'm so thankful I'm so thankful that they actually have settings now where you can change that URL like I just showed. Because what was happening last year was that I would be like, a good example is like Christmas 2024, right? And so then you update the list, right? You update it here and you go, it's Christmas 2025, right? But it doesn't update the URL. So whenever you share it, it's going to still say Christmas 2024. And that's why I recommend to people to not do that. The convenience that it is actually giving you like settings now to be able to change it in advanced settings and changing this list URL is helpful, because that wasn't there last year. Now, the other thing I will say is because I was here last year for Christmas, I have Christmas lists already. So already out of the gate doing Christmas stuff. That is easy for me. So all I have to do is add to some of these lists and then it will repopulate. However, I still want to add new lists. So I have a rule of thumb of adding 2 lists a month. So now during the holidays, you really want to push lists out. So my first year I did I had the top toys for kids under 10. I had last year we did Swarovski once I finally learned that Swarovski was a brand partner. I also did let me pull this up. Stocking stuffer ideas that will surprise and delight. I actually haven't changed this one, so this is still last year's. Wrap It Up is still last year's. Adult gift ideas was actually I think around Easter time, but it falls in nicely with Christmas. Holiday party outfit ideas shine with the season. This was really good. And then Deck the Halls, I just revamped this. So this is from last year, but we just added like 15 to this list literally a couple of days ago, from the start on. So all of this is brand new to the list for people to look at. So you want a good variety of different holiday lists, and then you want to inject them. So if you're here from the previous year, you want to go back through your list and add to them, revitalize them, make sure that those items are still active or are still present, because if they're broken links, you don't want people going over to broken links. Then you want to create some new stuff. There's always endless ideas. One of the things that I would suggest to you is typing in Christmas and seeing what pops up. There is a search bar. It took me like 5 months to realize that the search bar was not just for people. For people. So I used to search people's names here and get their accounts, right? Because there's usernames, there's users, right? You're searching for people. But you can actually search for lists, you can search for items, and so it gives you a good idea of what people are already making and how you can pivot and change or do something unique that can help you stand out. So going through this, maybe you search up advent calendar, advent, right? And so you can see other people's items, you can see, what lists they're doing, if they have the 3 images or if they're trying to make a singular layout on the front cover like this one. And you can go into these lists for 1 engagement, but 2 for ideas as well, right? If I go into, say, this top list that's 2025, I know that it's brand new, somebody has worked on it. This note is something that I don't always do on my list either, but I can show you where that is. And I can kind of go through here and be like, oh, cute, that's cute. This is engagement, right? But I can also save it into my ideas. So I'll show you where that is living as well. So if I go down, come on, go down. I can see if there's anything else that really like pulls to me. And then if that's the case, I can store it and add it to mine. Now notice I didn't click on every single one and save every single one. It's really going in and seeing like, oh, I didn't see that one. That's really cool, right? So what you want to do is in your profile bubble, there's bookmarks. And so this is where all your saved items live. And it's really, really helpful. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Rebound. I appreciate you for the populars. I see you. Sorry, I'm like in between. Thank you for all the likes. Just I pop and rebound. Um, so this is where all of that lives. And I hope you guys can see something. I feel like the screen is not doing it justice because it's so white. It's going to be a problem, isn't it? I mean, I can get you guys closer-ish, but then it doesn't really help you, does it? I'm just like, fail. So, all of these items, when they go into your bookmarks, they're not someone else's item. Essentially what happens here is it goes to their thing, right? But then you can click their link, which is going to take you to wherever the source is, right? But when you share this link from here, then it becomes your own. It becomes your own item on your own list. So you're not resharing their thing and they're getting a commission. You're sharing a new item onto your list based on those ideas that you have grabbed. So it's a really cool tool of always like bookmarking other people's ideas to being like, I can put that somewhere. And I have over 425 things that aren't in a list, which I should go through and just like pop them in. I do this for like new list ideas, or like, oh, there's something that can go on my Harry Potter list, or oh, there's something that can go on my Disney list, you know, like there's always something. And I really need to go back through here and just like put them into lists so that people can actually see what the heck I am looking at. That all being said, the other thing that I wanted to show here is in the profile. I know the white screen of death isn't really helping. I'm gonna, while we have the white screen of death, just check on YouTube. There's nothing going on YouTube, but we're gonna keep it up for this stream and then figure out next week what I can do differently. So, um, the other thing I wanted to show you guys in the settings was that note. So actually, I can give you an example of in the hobby section. I already have a note right here. It shows up as a feather. So it'll say a welcome note is active. So when I go in here, if I go into my husband's art list, thank you, Just I Pop. Thank you for the likes. If I go into here, it's gonna pop up with the note, hopefully. No? Is it because it's my account? So I have a banner that I created. Well, my husband created. I downloaded it and put it as the banner. And then I put a short note in here. There is a generic note that it automatically comes with. But what you can do is you go into the settings and advanced settings, and then you go to welcome note. So you can preview and edit your welcome note inside Benable right there. So most of the things that you're going to find is in your settings. You have like the emojis that everybody always asks me about. The emojis are at the top in your settings. You also have like, you can have your own map. So if you're going to recommend cafes in your neighborhood, or like craft shops in your neighborhood, you can add a map to it. Even something I suggested the other day for Christmas time is setting up a map of different locations that have really cool house decorations, so that you kind of create like a Christmas neighborhood map, and you share that out to your local neighborhood groups in Facebook, and then people start clicking it and going and checking it out, which increases your traffic, which increases your popularity, and then you get more people clicking onto your Benable, and so that increases how much Benable pushes you out. So that's really helpful as well. That all being said, we wanted to work on this. So I was working on this yesterday, and of course, I did the number one thing that I tell people not to do, which is I went over 21 items. So as you can see there's 35 items. I was so excited to just get as many ornaments on here that I was like obsessed with. I was like, I'm gonna just keep tabbing them open. One of the things that I do when I create these lists is I'll go to the stores and have them all lined up on the bar here at the top of the page, and I'll have like 20 tabs open, and then I'll go into each tab and I'll use the Benable extension. So the Benable extension is here. A good example of that, let me see, Walmart. Let's go to Walmart for a second. Show you. Walmart's like my number one ornament. So if you go to any one of your websites, any website, not just the brand partners, but if you go to any one of the websites and click on the product itself, you load the product, if my computer cooperates, and then you click on the Benable extension, and it's going to pull up every single list that is connected to your account because it's already set up. So hey, Jennifer, thank you for coming in. So all of these are already set up. So you would just click it and then it's going to pull all of the information from that site into your Benable. And so it's going to load the pictures that it thinks are good, and a whole bunch of other pictures that you can select from, like see on the side. And then you just minimize it. And then you would click next and add a note. Then what ends up happening is back on Benable, if you refresh, it'll show up at the bottom of your page with everything. And so that's how I do things on a quicker pace with my Benable. If I were to do that on my phone, it would take a little bit longer. I feel like it's in between because the search is good. The other thing to do is just using the URL. So the URL, you know, copy like this, and then you go back to your screen, and then you press the plus button, and then you put it in. So like this is how you would do it on your phone, is you would copy the link over to your Benable. So that's kind of how you do it. Now, how to fix this. We are 35 items. So I know after about 18 to 21 items that if a list hasn't went green, there's something wrong with it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Rebound. Thank you for the roses and the TikToks. Amazing. Gotta go back to work. Enjoy your day. Finally caught you. Thank you so much. Have a good day at work, Rebound. Appreciate you. And so with this, I have to do certain things. The first thing to do is to check this description. The description is pretty beefy, shouldn't be a problem. I also did a tune-up on this. I think a tune-up showed up. The tune-ups are in the dashboard. And it just, I think it said that it wasn't performing enough or something. And I edited it. No, that was a different list. Anyways, this looks pretty good to me. To me, that being the case. So the next thing to do is to look at all my notes and see if there's any that are too short. These are pretty good, but I'm looking for stuff like maybe this one. It should be okay, but if you have like a sentence of like 3-4 words, you should be concerned. Then we have more. It's not bad. Like the length is not terrible. So I'm like, okay, what next? It could be the images. So the next thing to do would be to edit this and like reduce all of the images to make sure that they're mobile friendly. I believe I did that as I went. So I don't think that any of the images are an issue. So we've went through those 3 things. So actually, this is too short. The perfect gingerbread for the perfect tree. This Swarovski crystal is a must have. Just making it a little bit longer and making sure that it is good to go. You're recommending the product and not what it is, and so it's a fine line. This is my favorite. Swarovski. Year after year, it is so cute. Love the rocking horse. Okay. Not one, not two, but 3 ornaments from Swarovski collection. Perfect for grandma or a collector. Okay, so I'm just making them a little bit longer just so that I'm confident in saying like, hey, these are good to go. An ornament. Husband would love this one. Okay, so we all know someone who is a SpongeBob fan. This is adorable. Look at that. It is holding. Okay. So I'm gonna just check over and make sure like this it's so hard, guys, because like I feel like most of these are good, but I want to cover all of my bases. Bluey, she would squeal at this. Holding a present due. So cute. Okay. Sometimes I'll put questions in here. I really like the wraparound lights of the Squishmallow. The red fox is my fave. Okay. So we're just going down the list to make sure that there's no more short notes. Like there's this one, but it might be okay. And then we're going to move on. So I could wait the 10 minutes for, because I made changes, I could wait 10 minutes and see if it goes green. The other thing that I don't like recently is how they've switched where the optimization is. It used to be on screen while you were making the list. I was also informed, so the list itself, it takes 10 minutes to optimize. But last month I had a list, which was, I think, actually this one, the teaching what I know about Benable list, didn't optimize. And I tested it, went through it, and then I contacted them because you can contact them at the bottom of the screen here. And they were like, oh, it's optimized. And I was like, what's going on? And they're like, well, sometimes it takes 24 hours. So this list has been 24 hours, and that's why it's still near optimized. I'm taking a stronger look at it, but like, Hi, Deaf Pilot. Thank you for coming in. We're testing right now the tutorial. I gotta go just to say, came in to say hi. Bye, Jennifer. Thank you for coming in. Um, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Doing a tutorial, but we're testing out YouTube at the same time. Usually we do TikTok Studio on Monday. But we're trying OBS, and I don't think that OBS and TikTok Studio can run at the same time. My laptop will fail and cry. I just have a notification. Okay. So that one doesn't matter. We are currently trying to optimize this list. And um I don't know. I think that the 10 minutes still stands. I think that sometimes there's some things that happen in the background with the small team, and I think over time things fix themselves, but we're going to still try to do this. So one of the things that I would recommend outside of like your descriptions, your notes, your images, if it's still not optimizing and you're past 21 items, is reducing it into sections. So one of the things here for me to do next is to make it into sections, and I'm trying to figure out what those sections look like because they're all cute to me. I could do it by store, but then like that defeats the purpose of people clicking and finding out what it is. So I feel like it should be like personalized versus like cute stuff, because there's personalized ones in here and then there's just regular and bougie ornaments. So anyways, we're gonna start this and we're gonna add a section. So you just click here. Um, Timeless, bougie, ornaments. Okay. And then we're also going to go and put traditional, uh, not even traditional, just personalized ornaments, ornaments. Okay. Now, when you're doing sections, you ultimately have to put a description. So these ornaments can be a gift to anyone and regifted for generations to come. Okay. Then we've got personalized ornaments. So you go and tap the bottom and you're gonna go, these ornaments are specific to your family or friend to have as a keepsake forever, right? So you need to have a description on the subcategories. So then we have this personalized family, and we can literally just drag it into the bubbles. So there we go. This one is personalized as well. The dog personalized one. We have the key, which is personalized. If I can click it, and I'm totally not going to be able to prove in this live that it helped, because it's going to take 10 minutes or so. We're going to stay for a little bit, but this one's personalized, this one's personalized, and then the rest are timeless. Oh, this one's personalized too. Cool. So we have now two sections. The first section is still quite heavy with 24 items. So I don't know. I could reduce it more, but I think it's good to wait and just see what Benable does with it and if it passes. Why do you want to have an optimized list? It's because you want to have more traction. When it's optimized, they put SEO on it for Google. And so having it optimized, you get more onto the Google platform, and then you also get put into the discovery feed more often. So my fingers are crossed that something I did between the notes and the sections will get it to go green. If not, I'll continue to tweak it. Some lists don't get optimized. Some lists over time, no matter what you do to it, all you can do is keep trying every once in a while and get in there. And I feel like the lists that do that, I don't ever want to touch. So I get like in between about the things that are going to be a success or not. So I'm gonna just check on YouTube for a second. Okay, good to know. So, another thing that I can go into, like while we were live here, we actually had an invite, so I can show you that. Got another invite. It was weird because it did show it. right there. So thank you, Jackie, for coming in. We also got a comment this morning, which was cute on the perfect feline list. So Benable shows you all these things in your notifications. They are also heavy in emailing you. They will email you everything. So I find that I get email blindness where I don't notice everything that comes in. But I try my best. I go on Benable every day, at least once a day, to check in and see what's going on, to check my dashboard. So I'll do that with you guys as well. I go through my dashboard, I see who's coming in and where they're going. Um, I wish one of the things that I wish Benable had, and I've been told that they're working on it, is better analytics of seeing which lists are doing that are performing well and kind of like the breakdown of that. I have thought about making a Google spreadsheet, but honestly, I get like 23 views a day, 23 to 25 views a day, and I think this caps out at a certain point of like going in the past, so I can't ever get that data back. I wish I could. Wish I could. Um, but like I basically would only have the cashback like amounts to go off of like what was sold in a list. I find that if I go by this, a lot of my lists are around snacks or Walmart. And I talk a lot about that in my content about having everyday items that people are going to look at and be like, oh, I actually need that. And they click it and then they end up shopping for themselves, right? Um, I have not. I should. We can put that on there right now. So if I go over to Walmart, we're gonna go here and pull up this because it's going viral right now. And I guess so. I guess so. So the regular, ooh, it's already out of stock. That's how popular. That's how popular it is. I'm gonna put it on the list anyways. So what you do is you grab the case. So this is 0, which people have been talking about. So you copy, actually, you copy it over and press the plus button. But what we're going to do is grab the Benable extension and I'm going to look for delicious yummies to binge. We're going to go movie night, add, press add button. And it's going to populate over there. So, and the brilliance of this, I have actually done this before where I have made a video of me drinking Berkshire beer and actually made a sale on Berkshire beer. So if we go and try this tomorrow, then like we could even put the bottles on here technically. Um, but yeah, then we add a note, go, uh, the Christmas vanilla Coke is going viral, and the 0 is available. We were wondering and went looking to see. They had a 0 option. Sweet. So this, and then done. Just add that to the list. So now it's going viral and it's in my list. So potentially somebody could come by and search it even in the Benable menu, right? So I'm going to go back and just add the bottles, add the real bottles. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome back. And so we're gonna grab this because tomorrow we will probably be grabbing that from the store and then trying that out. I have a feeling that it's not as good as Coke Vanilla, and if it is, like, I feel like they've done so many different Coke Vanillas at this point that they're not all the same. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain. Last year, they had Coke Vanilla, but it was natural vanilla. It wasn't the fake vanilla, and the fake vanilla tastes way better than the natural vanilla. Does that make sense? So now I'm curious as what the Christmas holiday vanilla cream tastes like, because isn't it all the same? Isn't it all the same? I don't know. I'm just like, and it being that I don't have the original in my hand, I have really no like before after kind of effect to really go off of. All I have to go off of is does it taste good or not. So, wait. There is also bottled version, um, and we might, whoops, and not might, and excited, ah, and excited to go get some to try. I hope it is as good as the original. You know, funny story, okay? When Target came to Canada and had vanilla Coke, we went crazy because Canada didn't have vanilla Coke for the longest time. And then Target came to Canada, and then, like, one of the first things on the shelf was vanilla Coke. And I was like, we have to get vanilla Coke because, like, that was the thing. And honestly, to be very honest with you, I think my husband and I are different, but I used to love vanilla Pepsi a lot better than vanilla Coke. But vanilla Pepsi hasn't been around forever. Vanilla Pepsi is smoother. So, anyways, he likes vanilla Coke. We went and got vanilla Coke when we went to Target, and we were obsessed. And then Target left. When we had Target here, they weren't able to continuously stock the shelves, and it always looked bare. And they did too much in too small of a time, and they were not prepared for the Canadian market. And Walmart just, it was just like, we're already here. What are you doing? Um, so they came in too fast. Now we can still purchase stuff from Target and have it shipped to Canada. And I do have Target items on my list, but it's also because I have an audience of US people. So I have proof that in my Benable, when I have like my dashboard, there's some things that I do post that are US because I can see in my dashboard, aside from the Benable people, of like, by the way, I have this Singapore person coming into my list every day right now, looking at all my lists. It's got me all weirded out because it's every list. I'm like, are you tracking me? Are you trying to copy lists? What are you doing? But what I was trying to say here is like Kingwood, right? West Virginia. All of these like Googles that are coming in, they're mostly from the US. And so I try to make lists that are mostly Canadian because I'm Canadian. But when I see that there's US people coming in, I feel safer about making a Target list. So although Canada doesn't have Target anymore, I do make those lists because I feel like people in the US are more likely to click on Target than Walmart. Um, but I am a Walmart girly all day long. And it's weird because when Benable does like brand callouts on Instagram, Walmart is not one of the brands that I want to work with. And it's not because I don't love Walmart and I use Walmart and I make commissions on Walmart and I'm excited with their product. It's because it's not a dream to go out and get a gift card. Like a lot of the Benable brand partnerships that I have seen have been a gift card. And so I would want to get a gift card for Disney Store or Lush or ColourPop. And those are the names that go into my list. There's Loungefly. There's all of these like different partners that I would love to work with and put more energy into. But for me, I get everything shipped in from Walmart. So like everything in my house is delivered from Walmart or Amazon, and I'm having beef with Amazon right now. You can definitely use Amazon on Benable, but Amazon doesn't like me, so we're staying away from Amazon as much as possible. That makes sense, right? So that's kind of why I do that. I don't have a lot of like I did Five Below for a little bit, and then Five Below didn't do commissions at a certain point, so I don't know what's going on with Five Below. Home Depot does a crossover, so HomeDepot.com is what is commissioned on Benable. But you can cross over into Canada, and I believe I get commissions that way because I get commissions from Home Depot. Um, so there's little things like that, like Wayfair, it's .com. So you just have to like make sure that the brand partner that you see is linked up. It's just like GameStop. GameStop is commissionable, but it's UK. It's .eu. So there's little things like that that you're like, like why doesn't it work here? But you can make it work. You just have to see if there's crossover. And there's really no way of like really telling. But I'll show you like my Amazon, like I've removed everything from my Benable except for like maybe 10 items because like I'm not removing the Amazon Fire tablets because that's what my kids use. I want to be honest with you guys, but I don't foresee any of my sales with Amazon. So anything that's coming through here is coming through Pinterest or those couple of clicks on Benable. I have literally stripped it down. And when I did my Black Friday list, I did not include Amazon this year. I use Amazon all of the time. And I'm very like back and forth of like, I want to include them into my list because I know people use it. But then if I'm not going to get commissions for it anyways, like why not put that energy into Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Canadian Tire, Giant Tiger that have those same items and sometimes for cheaper, especially Walmart. And even Alibaba is on here, AliExpress is on Benable, Shein is on Benable. So like there's so many options outside of Amazon that I'm not too sad about it. It's more that I am so used to using Amazon that I'm having issues with. So like it's a me thing. It's a me thing. I feel slighted because I feel like I put a lot of time and energy into Amazon to go nowhere. Um, I, and their customer service on their associate side is garbage. You can't talk to a real person. It is all email based. It is crazy. So what I've done here for Black Friday is I've got PetSmart, Home Depot, Cabela, Walmart, Target. I wish like I could spend more time on this, and as we get closer to Black Friday, like these are the early sales, these are the ones that are popping off right now. This could change a lot. Like I know with Walmart, I think it was, they have like 4 weeks. They're already like week 1, week 2, week 3, and I'm like, I don't know if I can keep up with all of this. And this is another problem that I see some creators on Benable struggle with. I know somebody on Benable, they're like, I'm going to do all of the active grocery sales, right? The problem with that is that it's a time suck, right? Like if you're going in and updating for the most recent Amazon sales, the most recent Giant Tiger sales, then you're quickly going to burn out because you're revolving those lists continuously and you want your lists to live on their own. So like this Black Friday list is one of the only lists that I do that's an adaptive list. My other lists I add to. I don't usually delete. I add to them. So they're not usually revolving lists. They're more compounded growing lists, if that makes sense. Because the energy that it takes to dedicate time to something like a Black Friday list where you're looking for items. And that's the other thing too, is like when I was going through Walmart, I went through 25 pages. There's 30 items, but I went through 25 pages so that people didn't have to like poke around for the best deals. I found the best deals, I put the best deals, and then I made notations of like, hey, like this is the best freezer or fridge that I see over at Home Depot, but there is like 10 of them. So like if you're looking for the best price point, this is this one. This has $800 off. But if you're looking for a cheaper fridge, there's cheaper fridges on the sale, right? So I'm not lack of transparency. The other thing that I'll say is there's some lists that people do on Benable that will have, like, for instance, um what's a good example of this? I did this the other day. um is it in here? Yeah, there's an example in here. I just need to pull it. This one, no, although I could do it with that one. It's this one. So you see how like this is pink and this is white. I don't know if you guys can see that actually. I'm gonna show you. Yeah, it's over here. So this over here, when people make Benable lists, they'll put the same listing 2-3 times because it's different colors. I would not like to waste my space and my time with that. Now, where it does make sense is stuff like a Disney list where you have different characters because people are going to be attracted to different characters. Whereas what matters here is the desk. So people are going to be like, oh, that's a cool desk. They're not going to be like, oh, I want it in white. Oh, no, the pink one is better. If they do, it's going to be on the listing itself. So I don't want to spend time making extra listings for products of the same product in multiple different versions because I think that if somebody likes blue, they're going to click blue, right? I want to make lists of like what I think is the best thing out there and I think it's cool so that you click and explore on your own, right? And I think the mentality there is that if somebody doesn't click the pink one, that they'll lose the sale because they bought the white one. But with Benable, what people don't understand is that once they clicked on here and they go to Walmart, they, they're already onto Walmart, right? And so that click, if they've purchased something from the site, will then reflect on the original click. It does not mean that they have to buy this desk. They just have to go to Walmart and then they can go grocery shopping. And it'll still show up as this desk was clicked and somebody bought a watermelon. So it's not so much about the colors or the types of versions that a product has to get somebody to click. Where that changes is if there's multiple different characters. So, for example, what I was mentioning is there is, and I might be able to find it in the search, there is a Disney list where somebody has made a whole bunch of different plushies that are there, right? They're all in the same store. Adult? I think it was adult. Let me see if I can find it. And doing something like that, they're all the same price point, but it makes sense, right? Let me see. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Because I definitely did not save it. I don't think I saved it anyways. I could probably go see if I saved an item from it. Bookmarks are important. If you're in the discovery feed and you're not using your bookmarks, then you're not giving yourself an advantage. It's important because you can take these things and really grow your lists when you don't have ideas or you get stuck. Just noodles. I did save something. So as you can see here, this makes sense. Having different plushies makes sense because they're different characters. They all are going to the same store, right? They're all going to the same place, but they're different enough that I'm more likely to click on the character that I like most versus the color. Like somebody might click on Stitch versus clicking on the Lion King. You know what I mean? So that makes sense. Now, the other thing that I like to do in my tutorial, and I'll do this before we go, is I like to do um, dashboard dashboard moments. So what I like to do for engagement, and I mentioned this on my tutorials, but I've started adding to this. So what I usually do is I look for people every day or at least every couple days in my dashboard that go to my list so I can give love back to their profile. So I follow them. If I'm not following them, I go to their list to see who is following them. I don't recommend that for everybody, but that's what I do. That's how I have the numbers that I do, is because I follow their followers. It's probably a bad thing. The next thing that I do is I go into their lists, usually a bigger list, and I like one of their items. So I'm giving back to the people who are coming into my profile. Now, the other thing that I like to do during tutorials, why this is convenient to me, is that I can take moments to tell you what's going on with other people's profiles and do like little mini audits. If anybody wants a real audit publicized, put on, like, I'll never like do a organic video on doing somebody's audit unless somebody has asked me for an audit. But in these lives, I feel like it's easy to go through. And maybe I shouldn't be doing it. If you don't, if you see yourself in one of my live streams and you don't want to be audited, I can take the footage down. If it's saved anywhere, I can take it down. What I like to do though is give tips and pointers. So specifically, this is a new account. This is brand new. They started their first two lists. They've probably just walked into this account from the app by the looks of it. It's got generic listing names. I would update the names, get more items into your list. That shouldn't, like, they've walked through the tutorial. That's basically what's happened here. The biggest suggestion I always have is the app doesn't give you your banner. You have to go into your computer system to add banner, and this elevates your profile. So having your banner, your profile description, your socials, that all helps to get your profile out there more. And then having 15 to 21 items and green check marks, then you get ahead more. Now I'm going to go to another one, show you guys what I'm seeing, and kind of, I feel like this is helpful to people. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But this is what I like to do, is you can see here they already have their header, they have their image, they have a good following. They could beef that up and include their socials and their email. That could elevate their profile. Now going into their lists, they have, like, I would say, based on what I'm seeing, like if I were going to the Pandora one that I liked the other day, I would say that this is actually not optimized. And there's no way for us to tell that, except for the fact that there's one worded notes. So I can tell if I was asked for an audit of this person, I would be like, your description needs to be longer and these notes absolutely need to be longer. And then we look at her other lists and we have a short description here, right? So the images aren't bad. The Pandora as well in the title is fine, but you want a little bit longer of a title. So something like what kind of bags, or you know what I mean? You want to have a little bit lengthier title that describes what's going to be expected in the list. Some of these longer lists are really hard to optimize. Once you hit past 21 items, you have to really be careful because you have to make sections. Making sections is going to help to kind of make this number manageable. I did a list of top 100 and it is optimized, so it's an item of 100 lists, but it's also sectioned 10 items per section. And I think that really helped that list. But I think in general, bigger lists are really, really great to shop through, but they want it to be shoppable. So being shoppable means that somebody can scroll and just jump to another section. And so that's why the sections are really helpful. Now we'll go down to the next person. My foot is starting to hurt. Owie, owie, owie. So if I go down, we did this person. Let's try this person. They have their check mark for their profile being optimized. So this is really good. They have their socials. I still would have a banner behind it, but it's good to see that the profile is optimized without it. That flags to me that that's not as important as I thought it was. So that's really, really cool to see as well. There's 2 TikToks here. That's interesting. You want people to know which TikTok, which social media you're prominent on. They would have at least 2 optimized lists. I would assume that this list is optimized. Potentially this list is optimized, the 19 one. I like going in. I really like hair stuff. So you can already tell, like, she's already figured out that, like, the description being beefy is good. She's got her notes down packed. It's a really good list. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is not optimized as well. And then the one thing I struggle with is is leaving comments. I need to get better at leaving comments. She's added a section in here, so she might still be editing this list to have more than one section. So that's really helpful too. I like seeing the differences. It helps me learn too of like what I'm saying is correct, and knowing that somebody else doesn't have a banner like that is progress to me, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, you know? Then we go into Becky. No banner, just brand new TikTok socials. This is there, which is really great. And then you've got lists. I would say probably this one and this one. I would say that this is probably optimized. It's got a good title on it. It's got a good description on it. This one might be pulling the list down. It might not be optimized. Only because of that. I would say the notes need to be improved and that it would get optimized. I would actually say that this is probably not an optimized list. It's a good list though. It has lots of like different items in it, which I think is really great. I like lists that are a variety of things within context, right? Stay on topic, and put a lot out there of things that you like. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't particularly like lists that are, I don't know, my favorite clothes and they're all jeans. You know, like variety. I really push lists for my own platform that are craft supplies, art, stuff for kids. You know what I mean? I feel like things connect with me, and that's how you should make lists, is what connects with you the most. It also shines in your content. I talk a lot about that, about like when you create these lists, you're creating content. And when people see your content, if you're a makeup artist, make your list with makeup, right? And so it's funny to me because there's lots of people out there that say, well, I can't do this. Like, I'm a professional, I'm a lawyer, or I am this, or I'm not. I can't really get into affiliate marketing. I can't do Benable. And I'm sitting there being like, why? Because, like, in their head, they don't want to be an influencer and they don't want products. Like, they don't want to have makeup and have to do influencer product marketing on makeup, right? But you don't have to. You could find an affiliate of how to make a will. You could find products that you use, your favorite pen that you always use when you're doing contracts. You could find the paper that you use, the printer that you use, and put it in a list, right? And then you could go to your human basic and be like, I use this water bottle every day. I have these snacks every day. I get in my car and this is what is in my car on my way to work, right? That's what Benable is about. It's less about um, the brand partners that hold the the capitalist pyramid up, and more about who you are, what speaks to you, what you love. Because when you show things that you love, then people get attracted to that because they see something in that that is resonates with themselves, right? There's connection points. And then when they come into that content, they're already know, like, and trust you. So they're clicking on things and being like, oh, that's cute, right? It doesn't have to be making a list for goth people because you think that goth people are going to be your market if you are not goth. Does that make sense? Or, um, for instance, another example, I'm trying to think. That was just a really good radical example. But, like, let's say for Christmas, right? I really, really, really like ornaments, a traditional style of ornaments. It doesn't mean that I should make a list of, like, hyper specific, shiny, Swarovski only ornaments if I don't use them or if I don't like them, right? Maybe it's because I think somebody likes the show Friends that I should make a list for them because I know that they like Friends and all of their stuff. I've watched Friends. Do I love everything about it? You know what I mean? We're different. And that's okay. Difference is okay. And they'll find those things on their own by, like, finding the things that they love. I actually have somebody in the chat right now of I love you to bits of the fact that I don't have boy stuff, right? And that's not an attack. I'm just saying that because I have a lot of stuff, it's girl stuff, and it's a lot of the times because I can't think about what boys like because I don't have that experience, right? That's a good example of, like, I don't live that life, so I don't know how to pinpoint that. It's also why I think that there should be more men on Venable because a lot of the times women purchase for men, but they don't know exactly what men love, right? They purchase like, oh, this is cute. I would see him in this, or I want him to, be strutting around in this, or he would like a nice watch or a wallet, but he's sitting there over there being like, I want a drill, and it has to be a hammer drill, right? It can't be just any drill. It has to be this drill, right? And we're going, a drill is a drill is a drill, right? But that's kind of how I feel about toys and stuff like that. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around other than the presumed feature of trucks, right? Like in Black Friday, which I think is an amazing deal, by the way. in Black Friday at Walmart. At Walmart, they have a jigger truck that is 50% off. And I put this on my list actually because it's a foot push truck. And I know people are going to go crazy over that. Um, Only because I know how special it is to not just have like toy trucks, of having things that they can use in the yard and stuff like that. I have a sand one too in the sand list. I remember them being at the parks and stuff like that, which was really fun. But outside of like trucks and like unisex toys, I don't know what boys play with. Are boys still into slime these days? I feel like girls are into slime more than boys. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I have a perceived stereotype in my head of like boys are active, they're jumping on things, they like their cars, their tools. I mean, I could make a very generic list, but I don't have a boy, so I feel like that generic list is generic. You know what I mean? I feel the same thing with my husband. Like I have a Father's Day list and I have like a workout list, which I got him to help with. Um, but like when it comes down to like working in the workshop or um, having even their favorite food sometimes you're like, that came out of left wing. Like where did that come from? Um, so I don't know. I really think that when you're building these lists, it's important to build from a place of or you like or you have, because then it shines through when you're talking about these things, especially when you're content creating. I used an example last week um, of Pepsi and uh, which, by the way, an interruption there. I haven't seen Barks in months. One of my friends was like, I can't get Barks for our next outing. And I was like, girl, I haven't seen Barks in like 6 months. We've been drinking mug because I can't find Barks anywhere. So the second I see it on Walmart, I'll be like, oh my god, there's Barks. Anyways, the example I gave last week is like if I had a Diet Pepsi and I make content about that, even though my husband loves zero stuff, and we just put a zero vanilla Coke on there. Um, if I were to make content of me enjoying diet anything, it would be like, it's great. I absolutely hate the taste of aspartame. I know the taste of it. I don't like the kickback. So the next example was, of Barks and being like, oh, like Barks is just so good. And you just see the change. You see the change. Like, it's even in this, right? Like, if I were to take two candies, right? And be like, which one is better? This one's actually really hard because I would have used to said coffee crisp, but I say Smarties now because I have problems with my teeth. All I drink is diet. I can't. Even the zero is not as bad as diet for me, but there's something about aspartame. I can't get past the aspartame. Um I can't do it. I wish I could. Um my husband has had those moments too of like, here, try this. It doesn't taste that bad. There's not as much like kickback to it. And I'm like, yeah, it's not bad. And then like 30 seconds later, I'm like, nope, I'm not drinking that because it just sits there. It's kind of like coffee. I don't drink coffee either because I love the smell of coffee and I wish I could drink coffee. But when I drink coffee, the the aftermath taste is in my mouth for like 15 minutes and I am like, I can't get this taste to go away. So it's the same thing with the aspartame. Is like I can't get it to go away. And I'd rather drink something that I enjoy than drink something that has long lasting, you know? thank you so much for the "You're awesome," Connie. But yeah, as we wind off here, I've got to turn off YouTube. So I hope anybody that was watching, or if anybody is watching the replay, enjoyed today's session. I hope it works. I have no idea, but leave me a comment for the first live ever if there is a replay. I don't know.